Hey,
Hey, how
what's
you
up?
doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing all right, doing all right. Getting through, getting through.
You
Doing
get your
this
shower
recording?
fixed?
Yes. For
Nice.
now, we've got it fixed. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you great.
Perfect.
Thank you for doing
Perfect.
this. This is amazing.
Of course, thank you for asking me.
Uh,
This is
why would I
exciting.
not?
This is exciting. So what's going on?
Not too much, man. Just trying to, as far as like this podcast thing, just trying to get it rolling and get it figured out and get everything like all the bugs and kinks figured out and get all the gears working and.
Yeah, I understand. We have ours on pause right now, but just starting it was like a whirlwind, so I understand completely.
Oh yeah.
Completely. I started listening to the first episode, and then I remember you saying, I think it was on Campfire Stories or something, you said you needed to edit it and re-upload it. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop listening. So I don't know, did you edit that one yet? Did you?
So what it is we had like audio halfway through that messed up. And for some reason or another,
Hmm.
I don't know exactly what happened in the recording, but I ended up like actually I think it was where I was editing and I started cutting pieces and I accidentally cut too much out of it.
Uh-huh.
And then when I went to put it back together, it was like jumbled and it didn't match. And I was like and I didn't realize that I missed all those parts until I put it out and I was like, well, this doesn't match. And so what I
Yeah.
did was I added a the bonus episode, and it's actually the part of the audio that's not on there.
Okay.
So just listen
Okay.
to it until it gets to the botch part, and then go back to the where it says bonus episode, and you'll get the whole episode.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
but we actually like took the time to like open our podcast for like a 3-part series. Like I was like, let's do this big to start it out. So
Oh man. Okay. I'm so excited to listen to it. Oh
let me know
man, that's
because
so cool.
like I want to know like your feedback and stuff.
Oh, of course. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I told my husband about it and I was like, I really want to listen to it, but he said he's re-uploading something, so I'm going to stop. But I told him about it and I'm very, very excited. And I love the name too.
Thank you, thank you. I was afraid it was like too big because like I have I also have like an email set up and it's like the Hauntological Society podcast at Gmail, and uh, Wendy was like, "You might want to change the name of that because that's awful big," and I'm like, "No, we're not doing it."
No, I
So
get it. I get it. I totally get it.
I think it fits with the theme of what I'm trying to do because I want to do something where it can be kind of like informative, so it almost feels like a university, like you're learning something. That's kind of like what I was going for.
Yeah, no, I
So
think that's great. And it's unique because I haven't heard that before. It's so difficult now to come up with podcast titles and podcast names
yeah,
because there's so many podcasts. So
yeah,
to find something that you know when people search, they're not going to accidentally like they're not going to come up with like a shit ton of results. It's going to be specifically like I know what I'm looking for
right.
is actually really clever.
That's good. That's good. Well,
As usual, I forgive if dogs come in and out. They get excited when things are happening in
no, I
general.
I appreciate the dog showing up, so I'm okay with that. I'm an animal lover, so
I know it. I know it. They just tend to know when I'm talking about something spooky,
mm,
even if I'm not doing a reading, if just something spooky is going on, they just know. So
uh,
they tend to get excited.
trust your pets, as they say.
Trust your
I
pets.
know.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
So
I guess we
what
got
is this all about exactly? What are we talking about today? I'm gonna let you take it actually.
okay.
I'm nervous and I talk a lot when I'm nervous.
No, you're good. You're fine. So I wanted to have you on here because I wanted to get some like insight into tarot because I thought about doing like an episode on tarot and divination and things like that. And I
Hmm.
was like, I was like, what better than talk to someone who knows like about tarot and stuff. So I want to kind of pick your brain a little bit and
Cool.
speak about how I kind of want to talk about. We'll get into it, but I don't have anything written down, so I'm just going to go organically. So just follow, just
I
let me
love
like
that.
go with the flow.
Yeah,
Um,
I love it.
but if you're ready, let's get started.
Hell yeah. Okay, sure.
Okay. So first off, how did you get into tarot? Like, where did you start?
I was living a really like non-spooky, non-woo life
Hmm.
for a while. And I kind of buried all of that because I felt so different from everyone. And I just felt like I needed to really just not just like put that to bed And so I had spent a good long while not looking into anything spooky, not trusting my intuition, not doing anything woo at all. And then the pandemic happened. And
Okay.
well, before the pandemic happened, right before, my now husband and I went on a trip with his mom. And it was literally, I think, oh no, it was the whole holiday season of 2019. So it was
Yeah.
Christmas and New Year's for the most part. And we went to Denver and we went to New Mexico to visit family of his because he's from New Mexico. And this was also the first time that I ever met his mom.
Oh.
One of the first times I'd ever met his mom. Yeah, we don't do anything subtle in this family. And I could tell she was like a little bit nervous because they're all academics.
Okay.
Okay. I could tell she was a little bit nervous. And then all of a sudden, she just starts asking me questions like she was just going to go out on a limb. Like she was more nervous to talk to me than I was to meet her. And it was because she was afraid that I was going to judge her for what she does just as much
Mhm.
as her academic side, which is tarot, astrology, and numerology.
Okay.
And I'll never forget the first time she read tarot for me. We were in New Mexico. It was, I think like the day after Christmas. And we were at, oh God, what was it? Harry's Roadhouse in New Mexico in Santa Fe. Shout out Harry's Roadhouse. Um, and she did my cards there. Harry's Roadhouse.
In
And it
the
was the first
restaurant?
time, yeah, in the restaurant. And it was the first
Nice.
time we were about to get in the car and drive back to Denver, which was a beautiful drive, but also a very long drive day after Christmas, and then fly back to Virginia. So she was like, I want to read your cards, when she kind of felt me out a little bit, like, okay, she's not going to think I'm a weirdo.
Mhm.
And then she just kind of like unleashed all of this enthusiasm and excitement that she has for tarot and astrology in that one trip. And I remember her reading my cards and me thinking, how does she do this? How does she do it? How do you get to this level? How do you, she's been doing it for 50 years. How do you do this? You know?
Right.
And she was just pulling cards and it was like she was reading plain English, like she was
Yeah.
reading a text on her phone. And I was so impressed and also so intimidated. And that was December. Later on that year, we ended up living with her because we all decided to just band together in the lockdown bubbles. And this is a very long answer, but basically, that enthusiasm that I talked about, I basically lived under a roof with her enthusiasm and her guidance and her knowledge. I would wake up in the mornings, I didn't even have a cup of coffee in me, and she would have her whole dining table would have this huge spread on it of like 20 something cards,
Yeah.
16 cards. And she'd be like, "What do you think about this?" I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. You've been doing this for 50 years, but what she was doing the whole time was teaching me.
Mhm.
And then one day she gave me my own deck. She has like this huge, I should have you talk to her. She has this huge china cabinet in her house. And when you open it up, it's nothing but tarot decks, oracle decks. It's just filled with them. Over
Uh-huh.
50 years of that and books and everything. And she just opened it up one day like it was like this magical moment. And she handed me a deck and she said, "Go play with this." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And that was 2020. Here we are. Um, yeah, and
What was your first deck? What was it?
oh, it was actually, it wasn't this deck, which is, where is it? It's somewhere around here. It's not the like the traditional
The Rider Waite.
Rider Waite Smith deck. It was a Welsh deck.
Okay.
And it was the first one that I'd ever used. And on my own, I started pulling cards. I started to learn more about the cards in my own personal way, kind of like setting aside what she thinks of them, even though I took that in completely. And then I started to kind of bring my own interpretations to
Okay,
things,
give me a minute.
my own, what do you call it? My own associations with things.
Hmm.
And weaving in the astrology that she taught me as well is a huge part of it for me. And I remember just sitting there one night with it on the couch, and she also gave me a tarot book, and I can't remember what book it is. I'm gonna have to look it up. But she gave me one of her tarot books. But again, it was like, it's probably out of print. It was from like 1972.
Yeah.
And and because she's just got this wealth of knowledge. And I was sitting on the couch and I saw this like past life reading, and it was like 18 cards. And I
Okay.
was like, well, the world is on fire. I need to distract myself. And I did it. And as I started saying, like reading it out loud to my husband, I went into this weird kind of like trance state
Yeah.
where I told the story of my past life from what the cards were saying. And then I snapped out of it and I realized where I was. I was still sitting on the couch.
Hmm.
And I looked over at my husband and I was like, did I just read that? And he said, yeah, I think you did.
Whoa.
And so it was like this weird trance thing that I went into, and it got really emotional. And then I just like kind of snapped out of it, and I looked up at him, and he was just still standing there watching me, like, "Yep, my mom was right. It's good you picked up that deck." So yeah, that's how it all started.
Now, when you read cards, do you feel like you go into that trance like all the time, or is that was that just like your first like go around? Like, whereas like more like you didn't go into a true trance, but you just kind of like were so focused that you went into the cards and started reading the cards.
Yeah, it was really like that. It was the latter.
Okay.
It was the first time that I really felt. I think what it was is I was and this is gonna sound so corny, but
Hmm.
this was the first time that I really connected with the thing that I was meant to come here and do.
Yeah.
I just didn't realize it at the time, but there was just something different. It hit different. You know, it was so different. And yeah, that kind of flow state, I think, is really what it was. Less of a trance, more of a flow state. Yeah.
Now, so you said she started out teaching you at first. Like, where, okay, let's see, how do I word this? Uh, how did she start incorporating like with you, like how the cards read? Like, so, for anyone who's like just starting out tarot, you've
Yeah.
got four different suits. You got pentacles,
Yeah.
wands, swords, and cups. Okay, so then you have like, you know, then you have the royalty cards or whatever, the king, the queen, pretty much like the knight, the
Yeah.
knave,
The court
whatever you
cards.
look at. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at what point in that did she start saying, okay, this represents this, this represents, how did she incorporate that into your learning?
Oh, the whole time.
Uh,
The whole time. And no matter what we were doing, if she was doing a reading for a friend of hers, if she was doing a reading for herself, or if I was just sitting there, we were getting ready to go, on a walk or something, she'd say, "Ooh, we're gonna read cards when we come back because I got a feeling that
okay.
we need to read your cards." And what she would do is she would just lay out the cards and she would say, she first would start and say like, okay, this is what I'm seeing, and
Okay.
she would explain in the moment why, but then she would go, but what do you think?
Hmm.
And it was it just was like a it was learning while doing, which is something that I really succeed. I really do well with. I don't like a whole lot of prep. I like to just be
Like a
thrown
hands
into
on.
the middle of stuff.
That's kind of me. Like I can learn instructions all day long, but like unless I actually do it, I don't learn shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, my peace of mind comes through trial by fire, I guess. I don't know.
Exactly. Let
Yeah.
me crash and burn because I'm gonna figure out how to like
Hmm.
rebuild it.
Yeah, I can't even
Okay.
remember I can't even remember learning how to swim. I mean, I grew up in Florida. I grew up on boats, so I don't remember ever not knowing how to swim, but at the
Mhm.
same time, I'm pretty sure somebody just said, "I don't know, just throw her in. She'll figure it out." Like that's just who I am. Um, and she's just also like I think I just had an excellent mentor and
Yeah.
teacher, because she's just so approachable.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying this to win brownie points with my mother-in-law. It's so cool that this is who my mother-in-law is. I never thought I'd have someone like this, you know, as my mother-in-law. But yeah, I mean, when she whipped those cards out at Harry's Roadhouse, I thought, yep, jackpot. This is great. Yeah, that's
No.
really what it was, is we just learned together. And she would
Yeah.
ask me to explain things the way that I see them, and it helped me to
Yeah.
learn a lot better.
Now, the way that I was always told is that, a lot of that comes from like intuition. You follow your intuition and, you kind of like read it as you, like you say, like kind of read it as you see it.
Yeah.
Did you find yourself like ever having to like take notes, like say the swords are this, so I need to take a note on this, or, this guy is looking out at this field, like what is it, the three of wands, I think, where he's looking out the field.
Yeah.
It's like,
Looking
do
out at the
you,
water, yeah.
Yeah, do I need to take notes to remember why he's looking out, or do you just kind of like just sort of get a feel for it as you went?
I think that had I not learned the way that I had learned, I would have taken more notes.
Okay.
But I feel because we were living under the same roof for almost a year.
Mhm.
It was supposed to be just a couple of months, and we decided to all kind of like pod together, and then it went on longer and longer and longer. We were reading tarot nightly. We
Yeah.
were I don't know if a day went by with when we weren't pulling
Mhm.
cards. And I also got so hyper focused in on it. And then I got hyper focused in on astrology as well, because she's also an astrologer. And I
Mhm.
was really fascinated by the intersect between the two and how astrology is represented in tarot. And
Mhm.
it just like, I truly feel like when the world got so wild and everything in my personal world got so quiet, my brain just became a sponge. So had it not be in that context, I definitely would have taken more notes for sure. For sure.
Now, it's interesting you mentioned astrology. Now, I know that when you pull your cards, you use a lot of the astrology in with the tarot,
Yeah.
and so how did you go about like actually incorporating that when you began, and how do you go about like incorporating it now? Like, is it just what the card like? Is it exactly what the cards say, or is it once again is it an intuition of how you're feeling?
It depends. It's an intuition a lot of the time now, the way that I
Mhm.
do it, because I've come up with my own style that I can't even describe. I think most practitioners would say, whether it's tarot or astrology, it's there at some point their intuition is just a very specific flavor that takes over. But for me nowadays, I tend to ask my clients if they know their big three, which
Mhm.
is your sun, moon, and your rising, because my personal spin that I like to put on things that I really have a lot of fun with, and it is through the elements.
Mhm.
And I don't even know if I have a name for this. I guess I could call it like an elemental approach.
Mhm.
But I really find that it also helps people in that intersect between astrology and tarot. It helps people to kind of understand, especially when you're giving someone a 1 hour reading and they've never done this before. I like to explain to them why I'm seeing the things that I'm seeing, because
Yeah.
I learned from someone who was like that. And so the elements really help me to link up tarot and astrology for people in a very easily digestible way, very
Yeah.
easy to explain. And yeah, that's typically, yeah, how I do it.
Now, also when you do your readings, you incorporate a lot of the spirits with that as well. Like you kind of like channel as you read. How did
Yeah,
that come
that
about?
that that came about unintentionally.
Mhm.
I think that I was brought to tarot from what I've begun to understand. I was meant to start doing tarot because I was not trusting my own self. And I
Right.
needed a safe space to, and I think a lot of us are like that. But I needed, apparently, from what I've begun to understand, I needed a safe space to tap into my intuition.
Okay.
And the tarot kind of helped me do that without me realizing it. Because I thought I was doing tarot like we're gonna work this out together, and I do still do it that way. But I was never calling on my guides. I was never talking to my ancestors. And then that started to change. So
Okay.
I started to learn that people and it's like it's more about when I started to recognize energies,
Mhm.
which is really when the spirits started to come through. Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, tarot is not always like a way for like people to speak directly to spirits,
Right.
or is it a way for spirits to speak directly to people? So, do you feel like when you do that reading that the spirits are influencing what's coming about, or do you think it's possibly more you see the answer and the spirits kind of give affirmation of it?
More of the former
Okay.
from what I'm experiencing now in my practice and with my clients, it's not all the time, but
Yeah.
typically what's happening is I'll give you an example of a story. I had a client, I'm not going to use their real name, I'll use a fake name. Uh, Her name was Carissa.
Okay.
And I this is the first time that spirit really came through during an like a booked reading that I had on my calendar. And
Yeah.
all day, I think the reading was like late in the afternoon, and all day I was thinking, okay, I got to do this, I got to do that. You know how you just like think in your head about the stuff that's going on. And when I read her name, Carissa, on my schedule, I heard in my head this sound in her name.
Mhm.
And it's the first time this had ever happened for me. And I was like, well, that's weird. What is that sound? And so I just started writing this stuff down because I was like, I don't know.
Mhm.
If it's just my imagination, it's just my imagination. So I started writing this stuff down and I heard in her name in Carissa. I
Mhm.
heard all of these soldiers standing at attention at once. Carissa. I was like, that's weird. And I started getting like Navy imagery. I was like, all right, I'll just write this down. And I thought, why am I trying to remember the name of someone who starts with the letter R? So I wrote that down, went into the reading with her, and I thought, you know what? This may be a little too weird. I'm not going to share this. So I just kind of set it aside, and none of the cards were making sense. It was like somebody turned my intuition off. Nothing was resonating with her. And I couldn't get a foothold anywhere, and so I started to panic a little bit because I was like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. This doesn't normally happen with me. Not to brag, I'm just saying this is weird. And then
Yeah.
I said, okay, hold on a second. And I asked her, does this any of this stuff that I wrote down beforehand resonate with you? The Navy or some kind of military, someone whose name starts with R, and she starts crying and she said, that's my dad.
Oh.
And I went, oh, oh no, okay, never been here before. Or I don't, this is new territory. I don't know what
Right.
to do. At this point, I had only channeled one of your relatives, and they came to me. Like this was
Yeah.
not, and it had nothing to do with tarot. And so I was like, okay, so I said out loud, sir, I'm sensing the energy at this point is like wrapped around her. The way that I see it is if it's like coming out of somebody's name, it's almost like wrapped around the person protectively. And
Mhm.
so I said out loud, sir, I really do mean well. I am not here to cause any trouble. I promise you can trust me. I'm just here to help your daughter.
Mhm.
And at that point, the cards started making sense. I pulled cards, they made sense. It was like, okay, now we're cooking, we're back in action. All because this spirit was with her. His energy was with her. So ever since then, I've been experiencing these things where I have loved ones. There was a dog at one point, attached to, not attached like an attachment, but like their energy surrounding a person. And so when I started thinking of it that way, it's like, oh, okay, spirits are energy. That's what this is. We are all energy, and energy never dies.
Right.
So, yeah, that's really how it happened. Was I was just doing tarot to work out some things with people, understand how they work from an astrological perspective, get them involved in their reading. I still do all those things,
Mhm.
but now my guides are sending spirits through. And if they're not sending spirits through, sometimes the spirit is already there with the person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because I just wanted to mention on the side note, before you started that, I got a poke in my back,
Oh, yeah?
in my left shoulder blade. It was like a finger poke.
We are very haunted people.
That we are.
We are
That we
very
are.
haunted people.
So okay. All right. Now you said now do you read Oracle decks also?
I don't normally. It's funny that you asked
Mhm.
that because my mother-in-law did just buy me one for my birthday.
Okay.
Um, I don't normally. I did create one that I've been using. If anybody has ever listened to the podcast, Night Owl podcast, you might have heard of an incredible person named Kate the Brave, and I did her Oracle workshop where we created an Oracle deck. in the moment, and it was really fun. But no, I haven't. I don't know. I'm a member of the Nosy Society, so I like to get as much information as I can get, and I feel
Mhm.
like tarot. I love the layers
Yeah.
in it a little more. I'm a little more drawn to it.
Um, how did you create the Oracle deck? What's the process in that?
She did this really incredible thing. Again, go look at her if you want to like take some of her workshops. She's absolutely incredible. She was actually the first person that really showed me how to get in contact with my guides.
Okay.
And she did a workshop where you just intuitively came up with like each card, and she would kind of cue you through it, and then everyone would share the card that they came up with.
Yeah.
And she would come up with like her guides would give her a word, and then
Okay.
we'd all come up with a card that had to do with that, but that in a way that resonated for us. It was really
Okay.
neat. Yeah.
That is cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Um, for those who don't know, like oracles are more like where tarot is kind of like this is like a potential path, or this is kind of like a the way that the things are leading. What's the difference between the oracle and a tarot deck for those who don't understand?
The Oracle deck, I feel like an Oracle deck can be more, I would almost say straightforward. See, I don't
Okay.
know because I mean, I do know and I don't know because I don't use Oracle decks ever, I guess, really. But for me, tarot, there's a storytelling aspect there.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like, and I don't mean to offend anyone when I say this, I feel like tarot is the book that you open, and Oracle, like the long form book in Oracle is like the book of poetry.
Yeah.
And I also feel like Oracle, this is funny. I actually kind of feel like Oracle is also kind of more of a direct line to spirit or those that you work with, whether it's angels, guides, ancestors. I'm just now realizing that mine are probably frustrated because I tend to take the more complicated approach to talk to them.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and I also feel like Oracle can be very, much more tailored
Hmm.
to a situation depending on the Oracle deck that you have. Like the
Yeah.
one that was given to me that I really do, you see, this is a message that I need to be getting into that Oracle deck, which is it all has to do with water and Piscean things,
Okay.
which is my rising sign, and that's why I resonate with it so much. But okay, fine, I'll open up the Oracle deck. You're not the first person who's asked me, well, what about Oracle decks? What's the difference between
Mhm.
Oracle and Tarot? And I'm going, the only difference is that I've been being told I need to do it, and I don't do it. So,
Now, are different oracle decks do they each have their own like story to tell, or are they like tarot where it's all kind of like the same thing, you just kind of read into it? Like, do you pull a certain oracle deck for a certain situation, or is it can you just pull any of them and you get the same results?
I don't know. I think it depends on the practitioner. I
Okay.
think it also just depends on how you do it because once I started working with spirit and understanding the way that I pulled cards, how I tapped into which cards I want to pull, and it just kind of organically grew into my own personal thing. So I can only imagine people who pulled Oracle
Right.
are experiencing something very similar. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now, you said you were given your first deck, but do you believe you were the few that believes that people have to be given their first deck, or is it okay to go choose your own?
Heck no, I think you should just go out there and get a deck. This, I don't know where this came from, so please forgive me, everybody, if I am not seeing something, but I think it's strange to hold yourself back from something,
Hmm.
especially if you are being drawn toward it. Somebody is nudging you toward it.
Yep.
If spirit doesn't have to go find somebody to gift you a deck and wait till your birthday. Like, don't make them do that work. Just go buy a
Right.
deck, and get moving and grooving with it. Honestly, again, all respect to people's belief systems, but no harm is going to befall you if you if you buy your own deck. It is a gift to yourself. If you're really struggling with this, just think that the nudge to get the deck is a gift from spirit.
It is your gift to yourself. Yes, from your
Yes.
spirits.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
you
yeah.
go.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite deck that you own?
I still would say it's the Welsh deck. I don't have it in here right now. I don't
Okay.
know where I put it, but it's still the Welsh deck.
What draws to you about that deck?
It's the first deck that ever that it clicked. That was the deck I was using when I got into the flow state, and it just kind of felt. It also looks very Arthurian, and
Hmm.
I am a literature nerd. I love the Arthurian legends. And it just and the colors are really beautiful, but they're not overstimulating and like neon. And it
Right.
just felt like this is my deck. There's just
Yeah.
something about it that, and I think everyone experiences that at least once, if not more, when they explore what's out there.
I had the same experience. In fact, I got my deck here with me. It's
Oh,
a Celtic
nice.
deck. I bought this in Germany, of all places,
Oh,
and
wow.
I have German descent, so it kind of felt right. And because it's a Celtic deck, there's Celtic like there's the Celtic Druids, and then there's the Druid connection with Germany as well. So it's kind of cool that it all sort of connected. And but anyway, so this is what kind of like what the cards look like. They're
Oh,
very
that's so cool.
yeah
That, see, and again, I can't explain it, but that looks like you.
yeah.
That looks like it came out of your mind's eye.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
before we got on, I just drew a card and I drew like this one. It was the two. I
Oh,
was
the Two
drawing.
of Pentacles.
Yeah, I was drawing for my friend, but it's very cool.
Very, very cool.
It's very
Very
like
Goblin King.
exactly, yeah. It has like that very
Yeah.
kind of like elves and goblins and
Yeah.
very
Oh
Vikings.
God, what is that? Willow.
Yeah, I would
It
love
reminds
Willow.
me of Willow, you know? And then, but it's really funny because I have this deck right here that I bought thinking that it was for me. This
Yeah.
is the funny thing. This is not my deck. I can tell it's not my deck. I've tried to use it. I can make no sense of it, and I love it, but it's not my deck. And so I'm saving it because I'm looking for whoever's deck this is. But it is a really neat one. It's an enchanted forest deck. So you have like
Oh, that's
goblins.
cool.
Yeah, it's really, really neat. It's just, I thought this was my deck, and I'm actually kind of mad that it's not. Not that there's any hard or fast rule. It's just the over the past few years that I've been doing this, I can just tell what is resonating with me and what isn't. And unfortunately, this one isn't. But it's
Oh
really,
yeah,
really cool. Yeah. So I'm waiting to find out whose deck this is. Come
that's
and claim
awesome.
it.
Somebody's
Yeah.
gonna somebody's gonna get that deck and they're gonna be very happy.
Oh, I hope so. I think they will. Yeah. And especially if this resonates with you, you are a very, very cool, magical person. For sure. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I don't know. Just and the other thing is like when I got this deck, like I said, I was in Germany. It just kind of seemed like all like it all fit. Like it's very very like linear, so to speak. So I think let's do something fun since I have you
Okay.
on the line.
All right.
I am gonna pull your tarot,
Oh my gosh, this is so exciting.
and
Okay.
then I'm gonna play with it. I'll just do like a 3 card spread, so it's like easy, and
Okay.
then I'll kind of maybe read it, and then I'll get you to see what you like, how you feel or whatever about the
Okay.
cards.
Yeah.
So
I love
here we
this.
go.
I love this.
Okay.
And Eric has never pulled for me before, so this is very exciting, everybody listening.
Yes, I am. I'm usually the one getting the cards pulled, and actually I've spread the cards out, and I'm feeling the energy off the cards when I pull it. And so the first
Nice.
the first card was like resonating. So
Everybody does it differently. Once you figure it out, it's magical.
it's pretty cool. Like when you actually can feel the energy come off the card. You're like, this is the one. I keep going back to this. I'm
Yeah.
gonna pull that.
Okay.
Um,
For me, it's more visual sometimes. Well, yeah, it is energetic, but also visual. Like sometimes a card looks brighter than the others.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
That's cool. I wish I could see that. When I was a kid, let me pull this card. When I was a kid, I would always try my best to see people's auras.
Yeah,
and
did
it
it ever
never,
work?
not really. I even tried a thing where you kind of squint to sort of see, and it never popped up for me. I was just like, I know that there's or and I'm like probably like 10, 12 years old. Like I read this somewhere in a book, and I'm like going, you can see people's auras. I gotta see this. So I'm like looking at everybody, like trying to like figure this out. Speaking of
I've
books,
tried that too, like holding out my hand and moving it really fast, and my eyesight is not good enough for that. You know.
I had one of those like fake X-ray glasses things back in the day, and you could hold your
Uh-huh.
hand underneath it, and you could sort of like see your bones.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, "Oh, I finally see my aura in this thing." All right, so I have three cards here.
Uh-huh.
All right, first card.
Oh, see, now I know how other people feel because now I'm trying to read your face
Yeah,
when you
I'm trying to.
because you
I-
just raised your eyebrows and I'm going, oh no, what's wrong?
I'm trying not to spill the beans here.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay.
Interesting being on the other side of the table now.
Hmm. Okay. It's funny because I think like in my tuition, I think your guys have kind of come through in the cards. I think I see them in the cards because
Okay.
I see the representation of you and possibly Goose, and you guys are
The
walking away
goose.
from a particular situation, and I see he's a little war torn and battered a little bit, but
Uh-huh.
you have like the spirits or the guides looking over you as if you've got someone like keeping an eye to make sure that you're okay.
Okay.
And
Mm-hmm.
here's the card.
Oh, okay. Oh, this is very yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, you've got that right. Not
And
that there's
so,
any right or wrong when it comes to
right,
people's
right.
intuition, but like you're tapped in for sure. Yeah.
And so on this one, I see, once again, you see someone who looks like they've been through it. They've kind of gone through a situation, um, and they have a shirt on that's sort of like down over the shoulder. So it's kind of like, like you're tired, you're weary, you don't get it, you're not fully dressed. And it's
Mm-hmm.
actually this card
Reversed. Is it reversed?
reversed. Yes, reversed.
Oh my God.
Yes. Um,
Interesting. There's a horse there
so
too.
for those who can't see, there's it looks like she's sitting there by a horse, and there's someone who was possibly fallen or dead that she's like looking over. Maybe it's not like it's not like a sad card. Maybe it's more of like a remembrance or appreciation of what had happened before.
Yeah. And
So
it's
kind of like,
reversed.
mhm.
Interesting. Okay. Okay.
All right, all right. And now here, I'm very nervous by the way because I'm not the tarot reader.
No, you are the tarot reader. You have a tarot deck and you're reading the tarot. You're a tarot reader. Don't be nervous.
On this one, I feel that perhaps the it's a reverse card, and perhaps it's with everything that's happened, and even though you're battered and beaten up, even though your guides are watching you to make sure that everything's good, you still stop to remember that everything that's happened in the past, everything that has led up to this point, and even though it feels like you want to run away, you probably need to stop and just analyze everything that's happened, and maybe like sort of plan your next step. Just sort of think about what you've had to do to get to this spot and say, this is how it happens.
Yep.
And this is the card.
Okay.
And it's
And it's
reversed also.
also reversed.
That's why I said instead of like you riding away on your little like wolf or whatever, it's you got to stop and sort of like pay attention to like what's happened and say, I need to think about this for a minute.
Interesting. Very interesting. That was a damn good pull.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now,
Fantastic.
what did you see in the cards?
Oh man. So the first card that you pulled,
Which is the Five of Pentacles.
typically, which is the Five of Pentacles, typically in my my deck that I use for a lot of the readings or for myself, typically I look at that as help is on the way.
Hmm.
There is, oh, hi. See, the second we started pulling cards, we got dogs.
Love it.
Hi, baby. Typically it's, the light is on. You
Mhm.
know, there the the hardship is going to end soon. Something is coming, something is happening. But in
Yeah.
your deck, it has that spirit team
Hmm.
in it watching.
And they're
And
magical too, because it looks like a goblin and a
yeah,
fairy and perhaps like another like little troll or something there.
yeah. And it felt more like fate,
Hmm.
like the way that you
Exactly. Yeah.
described it. Yeah, it felt like the guides watching. It definitely did feel like me and my husband, and it's spot on right now because he is leaving a very, very stressful job that
Yeah.
we've both been in on together. Like, not in on together, it was his job, but when you have a stressful job, your spouse is going to feel it too.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is the year that he's transferring to a new vocation.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Good
So,
luck to
but
him.
thank you. Yeah, and it's very exciting. But it does feel also very like fate.
Yeah.
Like this is meant to happen.
Which is funny because I also think of like the pentacles as like wealth because pentacles like are like the coins, so to speak. And I associate that
Yes.
with like wealth. And you can
Yeah.
see here that the coins are in this church here, sort of like a wall that's been built around your wealth. So it's like solidifying your wealth.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, the pentacles are earth. They're the
Hmm.
earth element. So it's any kind of earthly resources from money to just anything that you can think of as
Yeah.
an earthly resource. And he's a Taurus.
Mhm.
He's all about values and resources and things like that. Taurus, Earth, all that stuff. So,
Another,
oh, definitely.
another thing that I just noticed also is if you look at their feet are like kind of frozen and cold, but the rest of the
Oh,
body is not. So it could be like, if he's going to another job, then he's got the battle scars from it, the wounds, which is kind of like what I was feeling, like like
yeah,
the fight that he had to get to this point.
yeah,
It's leaving
and
residue.
it is. And if you look at it, if we've been frozen, we haven't been able to make these transitions or these moves for a while.
Yeah.
And if you look at one of them is so injured, it literally something has taken him out at the knees.
Yes.
In the card.
Yeah.
My husband, no, the card, yes. And it's been very much like that. Like if you have already a highly stressful job and then you get into the 2020s,
Mhm.
we're halfway through the 2020s, but yeah, you're finding yourself licking your wounds constantly,
Oh
and,
yeah.
and so yeah, no, I totally see that. And yeah, it's very, very interesting. That card alone said a lot.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So okay, the
Yeah.
second card I pulled is Temperance. This is it
Uh-huh.
right side up.
Ah,
And
yes.
yeah, she's there with her horse, and there's her probably lover or something who's like
Yeah,
possibly dead
champion.
or beat up. Yeah, but
Yeah.
he's got his bow and arrow with him, and he's laying on the ground, and
Mm-hmm.
she looks sad and torn. But I don't know that I feel that it's like a sad card. Like I didn't get that feeling from it, and it was reversed.
It's reversed. So
Hmm.
for me, it's so interesting that it's not always so literal with the cards, but my
Hmm.
God, that guy in the card has a red hair and red beard like my husband. It
And
really,
it's also the pair of you again. Like
I know, it's
it's a
the pair
man
of
and a
us
woman.
again.
Yeah. Yes.
I think that I am really the kind of person where I'm an Aquarius,
Mm.
but I've got a Leo moon. I'm very much about fun. I'm very much
Yeah.
about celebrating, taking things more lighthearted. I identify as a light worker. So when and Tauruses can just work, 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 work. Not well, not all Tauruses, but my husband can focus and work. Like he's got such a hard work ethic, and which is really, really great.
Yeah.
But these difficult jobs, these things that he was doing, I always felt so worried
Yeah.
about his stress levels and him and wanting to bring that lightness and that light worker stuff to the table. And I wasn't, it wasn't always, we weren't always able to strike the balance. You know, temperance is the balance.
Right.
We were always so out of balance, and I was always worried about the balance. And I think that now I won't have to be worried about the balance, and having it reversed like that is really the what I'm getting from it for sure.
And the other thing I was thinking about is she also has the horse over her shoulder.
Yeah,
That's the dog looking at you.
literally over my shoulder right now.
Yes.
And my mom calls them horses because they're so big. So
Floor horses.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And so the last thing I got here is it's actually the Knight of Wands. And it looks like
Ah,
this. Yeah.
yes.
It's the and you can see it's like a Viking or something with his fur, and he's on top of his wolf, and he's carrying his
Yeah.
wand, and their feet are once again frozen up to the shoulders. So
Interesting.
they're battling through it, but it was also
In
reversed.
reverse.
Yep.
Interesting. So typically the Knight of Wands, wands are fire, creation, the fire signs, Sagittarius,
Hmm.
Leo, and Aries, more about doing, creating, making shit happen. That's it's so funny because we're both fire moons, my husband and I.
Okay.
And it really feels like when the play of my fire moon is not being
Yeah.
used, it's more reactionary and more
Yeah.
stifled. And it's interesting that you've got that fire kind of symbol in the ice like that.
Uh-huh.
So
Fire and
I'm like
ice.
my brain is trying to read it as both reversed and upright. So upright, we're looking at something that's trying to happen.
Yeah.
And the knight, okay, so the court cards, the way that I look at them anyway, people can differ, but in my practice, and a lot of people's practice, the court cards, you can look at them as kind of like college levels. So the page is the freshman.
Yeah.
You know, he's done some work, but he's still in that newbie phase. He's got a lot to learn, but he's there.
Yeah.
The knight is the sophomore.
Okay.
So he's learned some stuff. He's moving
Mhm.
on, but he's not an expert. The I hate that the queen is the junior. I make the queen the senior. So king and queen, junior, senior, we're working things out. We're leveling up. We have mastered
Okay.
whatever it is we're mastering. So when we're talking about the fire sign of
Dig Okay. Okay.
so when we're talking about the fire sign with the wands,
Hmm.
getting shit done, jumping into action, making things happen, and we're at that sophomore stage.
Hmm.
So we've got a brainchild of some kind. We've got something that we're learning. We've got something that we're working on. Something is in the process of being done.
Right.
Um, that with the ice, that's just such a fascinating deck
Yeah.
because normally I don't see the knight like that.
Yeah.
It really feels almost like our instincts, his to jump on in and get stuff done, figure
Hmm.
things out, create things, which is what he's doing right now. And
Right.
then my instinct to just have fun, fire signs, fun, lightness, create, move, get past all of this hard
Right.
stuff that we're doing. I feel like both of those are unfreezing.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. And to me, with the because you can see it's like not all the way up to the shoulder, so it's possibly come down, which, like you say, is thawing out, but it is
Yeah.
frozen. So you've had to stop and deal with the hard stuff until you can
Mm-hmm.
get past that. So
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah.
This
This
is
is
such a great deck.
great. I
Thank
love
you.
that deck. That's
Yeah, it's a cool
fantastic.
deck. I'm
I've
gonna
never seen
pull.
that one.
Yeah, I've never seen one either, and it's actually got it's written in two different languages, so you can see at the top. Uh, Actually, this is written in four languages. You have
Oh, wow.
temperance,
Oh,
and
okay.
then look right here, and then you can see like I don't know if you can read that,
Yeah.
but there's four languages on there.
Oh, that's so cool.
Very cool, very European.
I love it. I love seeing decks that I haven't seen before. And
And
that's definitely one of them.
when do a universe card. Oh, look what happened. Universe card, same thing.
Oh,
I
nice.
put it into the deck and pulled it back out, but this time it was reversed.
The
So,
Five of Pentacles.
yep.
And so there are some practitioners who don't read reversed cards. My own mother-in-law, who taught me all of this, she tends to not read reversed cards sometimes. She just goes with her
Mhm.
intuition because she doesn't want to miss something. She actually will read it right side up and then she'll reverse it.
Okay.
And then she'll kind of zhuzh out what she wants in her from her intuition.
Right.
Yeah.
I like the reverse cards because I feel like it sort of like gives a spin on things. Like I still haven't quite figured out like I'm not the master tarot reader, but I can kind of go through it a little bit. But I think like you have your typical meaning for however it normally is, but when you spin it, I mean it can mean a completely different thing. Just depends.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Mm-hmm. For sure. It's so funny. For as long as I've been doing readings for people and doing tarot and um it's just it feels like tarot in and of itself is different depending on the person who is reading it.
yeah,
I it's there's no for me, I can never tell another person you're doing this wrong unless you're doing something that's like, oh, you got the death card means you're gonna die. Like
right.
I would be like, hold all of the horses.
Whoa.
But yeah, yeah, like whoa. But I like it's just like it's an extension of someone's intuition. It's a
Yeah,
tool for intuition.
yeah,
So yeah, it's so fun to watch other people work, like watching you work just now and seeing the deck that resonates the most with you.
yeah.
It's like seeing someone do tarot. When you see someone's handwriting for the first time, you're like, it feels like there's like it's so intimate about a person where you're like, that's your handwriting. That's
Yeah,
only yours.
yeah.
That is like a thumbprint. It's yours. It's so personal to you. And then I get the same feeling when I see somebody read tarot.
For me, like, well, handwriting itself is interesting because you can actually see someone's energy come out in their
Yes.
handwriting because depending on how you write, your energy flow. If you're angry, it comes out in your handwriting. If you're sad, it comes out in your handwriting.
Yep.
Depending on how you make your letters. I mean, it tells a lot about the person just by how you write something. So,
Yeah.
I guess like seeing someone go through the reading of a tarot deck, like how you interpret things, and because
Hmm.
like you say, people can interpret things two different ways, and I guess seeing how you interpret it, sort of like the whole is the glass half full or is it half empty kind of deal.
Yeah.
Like it goes both ways with tarot and handwriting and different things like that,
Yeah,
specifically in
it really
divination.
does. Yeah, it really, really does. And it's just it's a fascinating thing to watch. I love
Yeah.
watching people. And that was one of the things that my mother-in-law said to me when she kind of took me under her wing is go watch other people do it. You'll start
Yeah.
to pick up the things that work for you, the things that resonate and the things that don't.
Yeah.
And that's also why I like teaching tarot too, is because I love to see other people. I love to see the light bulb go on, and I don't even know
Mhm.
what it is because it's just something that clicked for them, and it's not for me, it's their thing,
Right.
and it's really exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, I keep trying to do it, and hopefully one day it'll just like open up to me and be like, oh, I get it completely. So,
Yeah.
um, listen, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this and talk to me and
Yeah.
teach us all a little bit about some tarot and what you do. Why
Of
don't you
course.
you want to give a little shout out to where people can find you so that you know
Yeah.
so if anyone wants a reading, they can come get some of your time.
Yeah, so if you want to book a reading with me, or if you want to do one of my workshops or anything like that, I have different things available for different people. You can go to calendly.com/tarot with Litha, and it will all be there. And if you don't know what you want, if you don't know, you can just email me tarotwithlitha@gmail.com, and I will be
Okay.
happy to figure it out with you. I just started doing something recently called $5 Fridays,
Mhm.
and it's once a month where there's only a certain amount of seats, but once a month, if you're like, I'd really like a reading, but I don't really have a whole lot of extra cash right now. Like, no, who has any extra cash right now? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I started doing $5 Fridays where you just pay $5 and you get to hang out on Zoom with me and a bunch of other people and get your cards read. And it's a lot of fun. We did our first one this month, and it was an absolute blast. We accidentally went over 2 hours because we were all having so much fun. So yeah, but I also do private readings as well. I do workshops. So just message me and we'll figure out which one is best for you.
There you go. Also, you mentioned your podcast. You want to push the podcast a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's on pause right now
Mhm.
because, and I haven't even explained fully why. It is on pause right now. It's called Ghoulie Pop. It's me and my husband, Goose. And yeah, we had to put it on pause because we had some crazy paranormal stuff happening. And it just, it felt a little weird. So we just decided to back off on it for a little bit. But yeah, we're getting back into that. It's basically me, a very professional weirdo, right? And my husband, who is definitely not. And we hope to get back to that soon. And we had a really great interview with you, Eric, on one of our first
Ta-da.
episodes. Yeah, cross
Yes.
promotion.
Ta-da. I like it.
Dun, da, da, da. So yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Sounds good. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having me. I had a blast. I'm
Yeah, no
so
problem.
grateful. I got a reading from Eric Anthony. This is fantastic.
There you go.